The massive Garlaxian ship hung in Earth's sky like a dark cloud. It was 5 times bigger than the largest human spacecraft ever built. People around the world pointed cameras at the sky, their faces a mix of fear and wonder. In Seoul, Dr. Ju stood on the roof of the Korea Advanced Institute of Science, her eyes fixed on the alien ship. She was small, barely reaching 5 feet in height with short black hair that framed her face. Despite her size, she had been chosen to meet the aliens because of her brilliant mind. She had 3 PhDs and spoke 7 languages. Now, she would need to learn an 8th, whatever these Garlaxians spoke. "Dr. Ju, they're ready for us," said her assistant, handing her a tablet with the latest updates. She nodded, took a deep breath, and headed to the elevator. "Today, everything changes," she said quietly. The landing site had been prepared in a large field outside Seoul. Military forces from around the world formed a wide circle around the area, tanks and missile systems hidden but ready. World leaders watched from safe distances, leaving the actual meeting to scientists and diplomats. A smaller craft broke away from the main ship and descended slowly. It made no sound as it landed, settling on the ground like a feather despite its huge size. Dr. Ju stood at the front of the human welcome team. Her heart beat fast, but her face remained calm. The future of Earth might depend on these first moments. A door opened on the side of the craft. A ramp extended to the ground. And then they appeared. The Garlaxians were huge. The first one to exit the ship stood nearly 10 feet tall with 4 muscular arms. Its skin was a deep blue-gray, like the ocean during a storm. Its head was wider than a human's with 4 eyes spaced around it, giving it a 270-degree field of vision. Dr. Ju had to tilt her head back to look at the alien. Next to these giants, she felt like a child. 5 more Garlaxians followed the first. They wore what seemed to be military uniforms with strange symbols that must be their rank insignia. The one in front had the most complex markings. This leader stepped forward and spoke. A device on its chest translated its deep, rumbling voice into English. "I am Commander Tyke of the Garlaxian Empire. We come in peace and curiosity to meet the newest sentient species discovered in this sector." Dr. Ju stepped forward. "I am Dr. Ju Hai, lead scientist representing Earth's United Nations. We welcome you to our world and hope for peaceful relations between our peoples." Commander Tyke looked down at her, all 4 eyes blinking in sequence. Then, surprisingly, it made a sound that the translator didn't convert. It took Dr. Ju a moment to realize it was laughing. "You are much smaller than we expected," Tyke said. "The images we collected showed your structures, your vehicles, but we didn't realize how tiny the builders were." One of the other Garlaxians leaned down, its 4 eyes examining Dr. Ju closely. "How adorable," it said, "like a smart pet." Dr. Ju kept her smile in place despite the insulting comparison. "I assure you, Commander, what we lack in size we make up for in other ways." "Of course," said Tyke, still sounding amused. "I am told this planet has approximately 1.5 times the gravity of our homeworld. That you function at all in such conditions is impressive for being so small." The Garlaxian who had called her adorable stepped forward. "I am Sub-Commander Hyun, Science Officer. Are all humans as small as you?" "I am somewhat below average height for humans," Dr. Ju admitted. "But none of us reach your size." Hyun nodded. "Fascinating. You must have developed significant intelligence to compensate for your physical limitations." Dr. Ju bit her tongue. She would not let these aliens provoke her into saying something that might harm Earth's chances for peaceful relations. The first meeting continued for 3 hours. The Garlaxians explained they had been watching Earth for the past 5 years, studying human broadcasts and communications. They had learned English and several other major languages. They expressed interest in establishing diplomatic relations and sharing some technology. Throughout the meeting, their condescending attitude never changed. They talked to the humans like adults talking to clever children. When they were shown to the building prepared for them, Commander Tyke lifted a heavy metal table with one arm to move it aside. "Your furniture is quite light," he said. "Do you have difficulty lifting it?" "It serves its purpose," Dr. Ju replied simply. That evening, the human delegation met to discuss their first impressions. "They think we're weak," said General Park, the military representative. "Did you see how they keep calling us cute?" "They don't see us as equals," agreed the diplomat from France. "This could be dangerous if they decide to take what they want from Earth." Dr. Ju had been quiet, thinking. Now she spoke. "They're judging us by their standards. They evolved on a lower gravity world, so of course they're taller and think we're weak. But they don't understand what it means to evolve on Earth." "What do you suggest?" asked the UN Secretary General. "Let them underestimate us for now," Dr. Ju said. "We'll learn what we can about them, their technology, their culture, their weaknesses, and we'll prepare just in case their peaceful visit turns out to be something else." Over the next week, the Garlaxians continued to treat humans with the same patronizing attitude. During a tour of a military base, Sub-Commander Hyun watched human soldiers performing physical training. "Look at them, trying so hard," Hyun said to Commander Taik. "It's cute how they push their little bodies." Taik nodded. "They make up for it with their machines, though. Their weapons technology is more advanced than we expected for a species at this stage." Nearby, Dr. Ju listened and made mental notes. The Garlaxians didn't bother lowering their voices around her. They didn't consider her a threat. Later, during a demonstration of Garlaxian technology, Hyun casually lifted a 500-pound piece of equipment. "Would you like me to move this for you?" he asked Dr. Ju with a smile that showed too many teeth. "No, thank you," she replied calmly. "We have machines for heavy lifting." "Of course you do," Hyun said, patting her head like a pet. "You cute little humans need a lot of help, don't you?" Dr. Ju said nothing, but her eyes narrowed slightly. She had already sent private messages to certain government agencies. The Garlaxians might be physically stronger, but humans had their own strengths, ones that weren't obvious at first glance. As the diplomatic meetings continued, the Garlaxians proposed an alliance. They would share some of their technology, and in return Earth would join the Garlaxian Empire as a protected species. "It would be for your own good," Commander Taik explained. "The galaxy is dangerous for small, weak species like yours." Dr. Bois. Ju thought of human history, of all the times protection had really meant control. "We'll need to discuss this proposal with all Earth nations," she said. "Such an important decision cannot be rushed." As she left the meeting, Dr. Ju passed a group of Special Forces soldiers training in a field nearby. They moved with speed and precision that made even the Garlaxians pause to watch. One soldier, a man named Captain Day, caught her eye and nodded, slightly. He was one of the people she had contacted. Soon the Garlaxians would discover that cute didn't mean harmless, and Earth's higher gravity had created humans who were much, much stronger than they appeared. 6 months had passed since the Garlaxians arrived on Earth. After many meetings and debates, Earth's nations had agreed to a trial alliance with the alien empire. The terms were simple. The Garlaxians would share some of their technology, and humans would provide resources and allow a military base to be built in South Korea. The base was now complete. It stood on the outskirts of Seoul, a strange mix of human and Garlaxian design. The alien sections towered over the human buildings with doors 3 times taller than normal and ceilings that seemed to reach for the sky. Captain Day walked through the main gate of the base, his military ID badge hanging around his neck. He was of average height for a Korean man, with a lean but solid build. Nothing about him looked special or threatening. His face was friendly, with eyes that crinkled when he smiled. But those who knew him well understood that his calm appearance hid exceptional abilities. As the human military liaison, Captain Day's job was to work with the Garlaxian forces and coordinate joint training exercises. It was not an easy job. The aliens still treated humans like children playing at being soldiers. "Ah, the little captain arrives," boomed a familiar voice. Commander Kwon, the Garlaxian military leader, strode toward Day. Like all his kind, Kwon was huge, with 4 muscular arms and blue-gray skin. He wore armor that made him look even bigger. "Good morning, Commander," Day said with a polite bow. 6 months of working with the aliens had taught him patience. "We begin the new training program today," Kwon said, placing one of his 4 hands on Day's shoulder. The weight was heavy, but Day didn't flinch. You will observe how real soldiers train. Actually, sir, I was hoping my team could join the exercises, Day said. Quan laughed, the sound echoing across the yard. Your tiny humans would get hurt. No. You will watch and learn. Maybe next time you can try some of the easier drills. Captain Day simply nodded. As you wish, Commander. In the command center, Dr. Ju was meeting with Sub-Commander Hyun. 6 months of diplomatic work had earned her some respect from the aliens, but they still treated her like a clever pet rather than an equal. These reports are concerning, Doctor, Ju said, pointing to data on the screen. The Vorlax ships have been spotted in 3 nearby systems. The Vorlax were a hostile species that even the Garlaxians feared. They conquered planets and stripped them of resources, caring nothing for the native life forms. Do not worry your pretty little head, Hyun said, patting her shoulder. The Vorlax would never attack a Garlaxian-protected world. And if they did, we would handle it. Your Earth weapons would be useless against them. Dr. Ju bit back a sharp reply. Still, I think we should prepare. My government wants to know what defensive measures. We will protect you, Hyun interrupted. That is our agreement. You provide the base and resources. We provide the protection. Like a parent protecting a child. Dr. Ju took a deep breath. Of course. But even children should know what dangers face them. Hyun seemed amused by her response. Very well. I will share basic information about the Vorlax, but there is no need for alarm. As they reviewed the data, Dr. Ju secretly recorded everything she saw. The Garlaxians didn't know that she had been working with Earth's military leaders to develop contingency plans, just in case their protectors couldn't or wouldn't protect them. On the training field, Captain Day watched as Garlaxian soldiers practiced with their advanced weapons. The aliens moved with surprising grace for their size, their forearms allowing them to handle multiple weapons at once. Impressive, isn't it? Asked a voice beside him. Day turned to see Commander Taek, the original Garlaxian diplomat who had first met with Dr. Ju. Very impressive, Day agreed. Your soldiers are well trained. They train from birth, Taek said proudly. The Garlaxian Empire has the finest military force in the galaxy. Day nodded. We have a saying on Earth, the best weapon is the one you never have to fire. Taek laughed. A cute saying from a cute species, but in the real galaxy, power is what keeps you safe. He gestured to a massive vehicle rolling onto the field. Like our assault tank. It can destroy any enemy vehicle your world has ever built. The Garlaxian tank was truly impressive. It hovered slightly above the ground and had multiple weapon systems mounted on its hull. It made Earth's best tanks look like toys. We have nothing like that, Day admitted. Of course not, Taek said, not unkindly. Your species is young. In time with our guidance you will advance. As they watched the tank demonstration, Day asked casual questions about its capabilities and weaknesses. Each answer was filed away in his memory. Later that day, Captain Day met with Dr. Ju in a secure room that was regularly checked for listening devices. They still don't take us seriously, Dr. Ju said, frustration clear in her voice. That might work in our favor, Day replied. They don't hide much from me because they don't think I'm a threat. Same with me, Dr. Ju said. Today Hyun showed me data on the Vorlax that I'm sure was meant to be classified. Day leaned forward. And? They're getting closer. 3 systems. Away now. The Garlaxians claim they won't come here, but I'm not so sure. She pulled up a map on her tablet. Look at the pattern. They're targeting worlds on the edge of Garlaxian territory. Worlds like Earth, Day said quietly. Dr. Ju nodded. Exactly. And I don't think the Garlaxians will risk their ships to protect us if they think the fight will be difficult. So we need our own plans, Day said. Yes. And we need to learn everything we can about both the Garlaxians and the Vorlax. Dr. Ju looked at Day. How is your team doing with the physical tests? Day smiled slightly. Better than the Garlaxians could imagine. Earth's gravity has been good to us. Keep it quiet for now, Dr. Ju advised. Let them keep thinking we're just cute little humans who need their protection. Until we don't, Day agreed. The next day, a new group of Garlaxian soldiers arrived, at the base. They were led by a commander named Pan, who seemed even more dismissive of humans than Quan. During the welcoming ceremony, Pan looked around at the human soldiers standing at attention. "These are your fighters?" he asked Quan, not bothering to lower his voice. "They look like children. Do they even know how to use weapons?" "They try their best," Quan replied with a chuckle. "They're enthusiastic, I'll give them that." "Captain." Day stood at perfect attention, his face showing nothing. Beside him, Sergeant Min, his second-in-command, whispered, "One day they'll learn." "Yes," Day whispered back. "One day." That day came sooner than anyone expected. As the ceremony ended, alarms began to blare throughout the base. Red lights flashed, and the Garlaxian translation system announced, "Alert! Alert! Unknown ships entering Earth orbit." Commander Quan rushed to a communication device. After a brief exchange in the Garlaxian language, his 4 eyes widened. "Impossible," he muttered. "What is it?" Captain Day asked. Quan looked at the human with something new in his eyes, concern, perhaps even fear. "The Vorlax," he said. "They're here." Chaos erupted at the joint base as the Vorlax ships entered Earth's atmosphere. Garlaxian soldiers rushed to their positions while alarms blared throughout the complex. "This is not possible," Commander Quan kept saying as he strode toward the command center. The Vorlax would not dare attack a Garlaxian-protected world. Captain Day jogged alongside him, having to take 2 steps for every one of the aliens. Yet here they are. We need to activate the defense systems. In the command center, Dr. Ju was already working with Sub-Commander Hyun. Her fingers flew across the control panel as she brought up satellite images of the Vorlax ships. 5 vessels, she reported. All combat class. Hyun pushed her aside to look at the screens. "They're heading directly for this base. They must know it's the center of Garlaxian operations on Earth." Commander Quan entered and immediately began giving orders. "Activate all defense systems. Launch our interceptor. Ships, contact the main fleet for reinforcements." The base hummed with energy as powerful defense weapons came online. Outside, Garlaxian interceptor ships rose from hidden hangars and streaked toward the incoming threat. "Human soldiers should stay inside," Commander Pan told Captain Day. "This is not a fight for your kind." Before Day could respond, the first explosions rocked the base. The lights flickered, then came back on. "They're jamming our communications," reported a Garlaxian technician. "Cannot contact the main fleet." Another explosion, stronger this time. The floor shook, and part of the ceiling collapsed in one corner of the room. "Interceptors are down," called another technician. "Vorlax jamming technology is blocking our weapon systems." Dr. Ju rushed to another console. "The jammers are affecting our energy-based weapons but not our conventional systems. We can still fight with human weapons." Commander Quan looked doubtful but nodded. "Work with what we have. Defensive positions, everyone." Captain Day turned to Dr. Ju. "The backup defense controls. They're in the east bunker, correct?" She nodded. "If we can reach them, we might be able to bypass the jamming signal and reactivate the main defense grid." "I'll get there," Day said, already moving toward the door. "Not alone," Quan said, following him. "I know the override codes." Outside the command center, the situation was grim. Smoke filled the air, and fires burned in several buildings. The Vorlax had landed, and their soldiers were advancing through the base. Captain Day got his first look at the enemy. The Vorlax were reptilian in appearance, with thick scales and long claws. They were smaller than the Garlaxians, but still larger than humans. They moved with frightening speed and coordination. "This way," Quan said, leading Day and a group of Garlaxian soldiers toward the east bunker. They stuck to cover, trying to avoid being seen. They had made it halfway when a massive explosion knocked them off their feet. When the dust cleared, a Vorlax assault vehicle blocked their path. "Their tank," Quan said, his voice low. "One of their most dangerous weapons." The Vorlax tank was even larger than the Garlaxian one Day had seen the day before. It hovered slightly above the ground and had multiple cannon barrels tracking for targets. "Back," Quan ordered. We need to find another route. They retreated behind a damaged building. Quan tried to contact other units on his communication device, but the jamming prevented clear signals. I can make out parts of the transmissions, he said. Many soldiers down. The command center is holding, but the Vorlax are surrounding it. We're cut off. Captain Day peered around the corner. The tank still blocked the direct path to the east bunker. Beyond it, he could see wounded Garlaxian soldiers trapped in an exposed area, unable to move to safety without coming under fire from the tank. We need to help those wounded, Day said. Quan nodded grimly. But the tank prevents us from reaching them or the bunker. Can we destroy it? Asked one of the Garlaxian soldiers. Not without our energy weapons, Quan replied. Its armor is too thick for the human projectile weapons we have access to. The group fell silent, the situation seeming hopeless. The tank's weapons continued to fire at various targets around the base, each blast shaking the ground. If we can't destroy it, perhaps we can distract it, suggested another Garlaxian. Draw its fire while someone makes a run for the bunker. Whoever does that would be killed instantly, Quan said, and the tank would simply turn back to its original position. More explosions in the distance. Time was running out. The backup defense controls needed to be activated soon, or the entire base would fall. Captain Day had been quiet, studying the tank. Now he spoke. What if we move it? The Garlaxians all turned to look at him. Move it? Quan repeated, as if unsure he had heard correctly. Yes, Day said simply. Move the tank out of the way. Commander Pan laughed, a harsh sound in the midst of battle. Little human, that vehicle weighs at least 15 tons. It would take specialized equipment to move it. Equipment we don't have access to right now. I wasn't suggesting using equipment, Day said. The Garlaxians stared at him in confusion. Then understanding dawned on Quan's face, followed by disbelief. You cannot be serious, he said. No living being could move that tank without machinery. Not on your world, perhaps, Day replied. He turned to the other Garlaxian soldiers. When I create an opening, be ready to move the wounded to safety. Commander, you should be ready to run for the bunker. This is madness, Pan said. What are you planning to do? My job, Day answered, protecting this base and everyone in it. He looked at Quan. You've called us cute and weak since you arrived. Now it's time to see what humans can really do. Before any of them could stop him, Captain Day darted out from behind the building. Instead of running toward the bunker, however, he circled around, approaching the tank from behind where its weapons couldn't easily target him. The Garlaxians watched in stunned silence as the small human reached the rear of the massive Vorlax tank. What is he doing? Whispered Pan. He'll be killed. I don't know, Quan admitted. Then into his communicator, he said, all units hold fire. Do not draw attention to the human. From their position, they could see Dai examining the back of the tank, looking for something. He found a grip point on the rear stabilizer bar, a metal protrusion used when loading the vehicle onto larger transport ships. And then, to the utter astonishment of every Garlaxian watching, Captain Day planted his feet firmly on the ground, grabbed the stabilizer bar with both hands, and began to pull upward. Impossible, breathed Pan. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then slowly but unmistakably, the rear of the 15-ton Vorlax tank began to rise from the ground. The Garlaxian's four eyes widened in shock as the small human lifted the massive war machine. Muscles straining, face locked in concentration, Captain Day continued to lift until the back end of the tank was nearly a meter off the ground. By the stars of Garlaxa, whispered Quan. How is this possible? Inside the command center, Dr. Ju watched the scene on a security monitor. She smiled slightly and spoke into her communicator. Earth's gravity is 1.5 times stronger than your homeworld, Commander. We evolved here. This is what it means to be human. Time seemed to stop as Captain Day held the rear of the massive Vorlax tank off the ground. The veins in his neck stood out, and sweat poured down his face, but his grip remained firm. With careful steps, he began to pivot the tank, turning its heavy bulk away from the path to the east bunker. The Garlaxians watched in stunned silence. Their 4 eyes were wide open, their mouths hanging in shock. They had called humans cute and weak for months, but now one small human was moving a vehicle that would require machinery to move on their world. "Commander," Day called through clenched teeth. "The bunker. Now." Quan snapped out of his shock. "Pan, help the wounded, the rest of you with me to the bunker." As Day continued to hold the tank at an angle, Quan and 2 soldiers ran past, now having a clear path to the east bunker. The Vorlax inside the tank seemed confused by their vehicle's strange movement. The main gun swiveled wildly, trying to find what was causing the tank to tilt. Pan and the other soldiers rushed to the wounded Garlaxians who had been trapped by the tank's position. With the tank now turned away, they could safely move their injured comrades to cover. "How much longer can he hold it?" one soldier asked, looking back at Day. "I don't know," Pan admitted. "I didn't think he could lift it at all." Inside the command center, Dr. Ju watched the security feeds with a tight smile. "Send in Sergeant Min's team," she ordered. "Captain Day needs backup." From another building, a squad of human soldiers emerged, led by Sergeant Min. Unlike the Garlaxians, they didn't seem surprised by Day's display of strength. They moved with purpose, taking up defensive positions around their captain. "Sir, we've got you covered," Min called out. "You can let go when ready." Day nodded, his face red with effort. "On 3. 1, 2, 3. He released the tank and dove away as the vehicle crashed back to the ground. The impact was so strong it cracked the concrete beneath it. Immediately, the tank's weapons turned toward the new threat, but Min's team was ready. They fired special EMP grenades that stuck to the tank's hull. The devices activated, temporarily disabling the vehicle's systems. "That won't hold it for long," Min said, helping Day to his feet. "Are you all right, sir?" Day nodded, catching his breath. "I'm fine. Is the path to the bunker clear?" "Yes, sir. Commander Quan reached it 30 seconds ago." As if on cue, a new set of alarms began to sound throughout the base. These were different from the attack warnings. These signaled that backup systems were coming online. "He made it," Day said with relief. "The defense grid is rebooting." In the east bunker, Commander Quan worked furiously at the control panel. The backup defense system was more primitive than the main grid, but had one advantage. It used different frequencies that the Vorlax jamming couldn't block. "Activating secondary defenses," he reported through his communicator. "All units prepare for counterattack." Around the base, hidden weapon turrets emerged from the ground and buildings. These were simpler projectile weapons, human designs enhanced with Garlaxian technology. They began firing at the Vorlax positions, driving the attackers back. In the HFY Command Center, Dr. Ju coordinated the defense effort. "The jamming is weakening," she reported. "Commander Quan's override is working." Sub-Commander Hyun stared at her with new respect. "Your Captain Day, how did he do that?" Dr. Ju looked up from her console. "Earth has stronger gravity than your world. We evolved here, so pound for pound humans are significantly stronger than Garlaxians." She shrugged. "We may be smaller, but our muscles and bones developed to handle 1.5 times the gravity you're used to." "But we've seen humans using machines to lift heavy objects," Hyun argued. "Why would you need those if you're so strong?" "Most heavy lifting is still beyond us," Dr. Ju explained, "and we use machines for efficiency and safety. But in emergencies, humans can call on strength that might surprise you." She looked back at the monitor showing Captain Day. "Especially our soldiers, who train to push their limits." Outside, the battle was turning. The Vorlax, surprised by the sudden activation of the defense systems, began to fall back. Their jamming technology was failing as Quan implemented override protocols from the bunker. Captain Day and Sergeant Min led their team toward the disabled tank. The EMP effects would soon wear off, and the vehicle would become a threat again. "We need to neutralize it permanently," Day said. "I have an idea, sir," Min replied. He pointed to a nearby drainage ditch. "If we could move it there, it would be trapped." Day nodded. "Good thinking. Get the team into position." The human soldiers moved with practiced efficiency. They surrounded the tank, Taking specific positions around its hull, Commander Pan had returned to the area and watched in disbelief as the humans prepared to move the massive vehicle. "What are they doing now?" he asked a fellow Garlaxian. I think they're going to move it together," the other replied, sounding uncertain. "Captain." Day gave the signal, and as one, the human squad lifted the tank. 4 soldiers on each side, with Day and Min at the back, raised the 15-ton vehicle off the ground. Their faces strained with effort, but together they began to walk the tank toward the drainage ditch. Throughout the base, Garlaxian soldiers paused in their fighting to watch this impossible sight. 10 small humans carrying a Vorlax assault tank as if it were a heavy table. With a final effort, they tipped the tank into the ditch. It landed with a crash, its hover systems unable to free it from the deep trench. In the command center, cheers erupted as humans and Garlaxians alike watched the scene on monitors. Dr. Ju allowed herself a smile of satisfaction. "The main defense. Grid is back online," she announced. "Vorlax forces are retreating." Outside, Captain Day approached Commander Quan, who had emerged from the bunker after activating the backup systems. The Garlaxian leader looked at the human with new eyes. "You could have told us," Quan said quietly. "About your strength." Day wiped sweat from his forehead. "Would you have believed me? Or would you have just called it cute that we thought we were strong?" Quan had no answer for that. He looked around at the human soldiers, seeing them differently now. Not as weak creatures needing protection, but as strong allies with hidden capabilities. "There is much about humans we do not understand," Quan admitted. "That's true of all species," Day replied. "Maybe now we can start learning about each other as equals." In the distance, the remaining Vorlax ships were lifting off, driven away by the now functioning defense systems. The attack had been repelled, but the base had suffered significant damage. More importantly, the relationship between humans and Garlaxians had changed forever. No one would be calling humans cute anymore, not after they had seen what the cute ones could do. 1 week after the Vorlax attack, the joint base was still being repaired. Workers moved among damaged buildings, clearing debris and rebuilding walls. Both humans and Garlaxians worked side by side, but something had changed. The aliens no longer gave orders to the humans as if speaking to children. Now they talked to them as equals. In the main meeting room, Captain Day sat across from Commander Quan. Between them was a table covered with battle reports and damage assessments. "The Vorlax won't give up so easily," Quan said. "This was just their first attack. They will return with more ships and better plans." Day nodded. "Then we need to be ready. Our combined forces are stronger than either of us alone." Quan's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep thought among his kind. "Yes, combined forces." He leaned forward. "Captain Day, I must apologize for how we've treated humans since our arrival." Day looked up, surprised. "Garlaxians rarely apologized for anything." "We saw your size and assumed weakness," Quan continued. "We called you cute and treated you like pets rather than partners. It was wrong, and it nearly cost us this base. Appearances can be deceiving," Day said simply. "Indeed." Quan pulled out a data tablet. "The High Command has reviewed the battle footage. They were impressed by what they saw. Earth has been reclassified as a Class A species." "What does that mean?" Day asked. "It means you are now considered full allies, not a protected species. It means we acknowledge your strength and capabilities as equal to our own, just different." The door opened and Dr. Ju entered with Sub-Commander Hyun. They too had been working closely together since the battle, with a new respect between them. "The communication systems are fully restored," Dr. Ju reported. "And we've adapted some of our technology to resist Vorlax jamming signals." "Excellent," Quan said. "Please, join us. We are discussing our new alliance structure." Dr. Ju sat beside Captain Day, giving him a small smile. They had both worked for months toward this moment, to be treated as equals by the Garlaxians. "The High Command has sent new orders," Yun said, placing another tablet on the table. "Joint training is to begin immediately. Real joint training, with humans and Garlaxians learning from each other." "About time," Dr. Ju said. Hyun looked at her with all 4 eyes. Yes, it is. We have much to learn from you. Your adaptability to high gravity has given you strengths we never considered. Outside in the training yard, the changes were already visible. Sergeant Min was demonstrating human combat techniques to a group of interested Garlaxian soldiers. Despite being much smaller, Min moved with speed and precision that impressed the aliens. The human fighting style uses leverage and momentum, Min explained. We don't try to overpower opponents larger than ourselves. We use their size against them. A Garlaxian soldier stepped forward to practice with Min. In previous months, such training would have been treated as a joke by the aliens. Now the soldier approached with seriousness and respect. Like this? The Garlaxian asked, attempting to copy Min's stance. Almost. Shift your weight lower. That's it. In another part of the base, Garlaxian engineers were working with human technicians to design new weapons that combined technologies from both species. The human projectile weapons had proven effective against the Vorlax when the energy weapons were jammed. Now they were creating hybrid systems that would be even more powerful. If we add your targeting system to our railgun design, the accuracy would improve by 40%, a human engineer explained. And if we incorporate our power cells, you could double the projectile velocity, the Garlaxian replied. The cooperation extended throughout the base and beyond. In orbit, human and Garlaxian ships patrolled together, watching for any sign of the Vorlax returning. On the ground, joint defense plans were being developed for cities around the world. 1 month after the battle, a ceremony was held at the fully repaired joint base. Military leaders from both species gathered to honor those who had defended against the Vorlax attack. Captain Day stood at attention as Commander Quan presented him with a medal, the first human to ever receive a Garlaxian military honor. For exceptional bravery and strength in the face of enemy fire, Quan announced, placing the medal on Day's uniform. Captain Day's actions saved countless lives and turned the tide of battle. Day accepted the medal with a bow. I only did what any of my soldiers would have done. The victory belonged to all of us, human and Garlaxian. After the ceremony, Dr. Ju found Day standing alone looking at the stars. Quite a change from 6 months ago, she said. They're not calling us cute anymore. Day smiled. No, they're not. Though I heard Commander Pan use a new phrase yesterday. He told a new Garlaxian arrival, "Don't underestimate the humans. I've seen one lift a tank." Dr. Ju laughed. I've heard that too. It's becoming something of a saying among them. As strong as an Earth human is a compliment now. They were joined by Commander Quan and Subcommander Hyun. We have news, Quan said. 3 more Vorlax ships have been detected at the edge of your solar system. They're coming back, Day said. Yes, but this time we are ready. Quan spread a map on a nearby table. Joint forces are already in position, and the Garlaxian High Command has sent our main battle fleet as well. They're taking the threat to Earth seriously now, Hyun added, because they now understand that humans are valuable allies, Dr. Ju said. More than that, Quan replied. News of what happened here has spread throughout the galaxy. The story of humans lifting Vorlax tanks has reached other worlds. Many species who once looked down on Earth now view it differently. As they should, Day said. Earth's gravity has shaped us into something stronger than we appear. A lesson we won't forget, Quan promised. In the following days, ships from other alien allies began to arrive in Earth's orbit. Species that had previously ignored human diplomatic efforts now sent representatives, eager to meet these surprisingly strong beings. Captain Day found himself telling the story of the battle many times. Each time, the alien visitors would look at him with disbelief, then with respect. It's strange, he told Dr. Ju after one such meeting. All it took was lifting a tank to change how the galaxy sees us. Sometimes actions speak louder than words, she replied. We needed to show them what humans are truly capable of. As they prepared for the coming battle with the Vorlax, humans and Garlaxians worked together as true partners. The training sessions were no longer one-sided, with Garlaxians teaching and humans listening. Now both species learned from each other, combining their unique strengths. Commander Quan watched a joint exercise where human and Garlaxian soldiers practiced moving heavy equipment together. The humans' strength and the Garlaxians' reach made them an effective team. We were wrong about humans, Quan said to Captain Day as they observed the training. We thought being small made you weak. We didn't understand that your world had made you strong in different ways. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses, Day replied. The best alliances are built on understanding and respecting both. Quan nodded. A wise perspective. Perhaps that is humanity's greatest strength. Not just your physical power, but your ability to adapt and work together with different species. As the sun set over the joint base, humans and Garlaxians continued their preparations side by side. The galaxy was watching Earth now, seeing it not as a cute backward world, but as a planet of surprisingly strong beings who could lift tanks and change perceptions. The Vorlax would return, but they would find a united force waiting for them and a species that was anything but cute when defending their home.